Hello there, my name is Nicholas Brumfield. I am currently a student at Ohio University in Athens, Ohio, and I would like to introduce you to welcome you to Nick and Jordan, a video series I'm developing as part of my recipientship of the Benjamin A. Gilman International Scholarship. This is kind of just the introductory video. I'm going to talk a little bit about my background and my experience in Jordan, so you feel free to skip over it to the more useful parts. But yeah, the main purpose of this video series is to inform about and encourage study abroad in general, and study abroad in Jordan in particular, to provide financial resource information to those students, particularly to all students, but particularly to those students like myself who are financially disadvantaged and require a lot of extra funding in order to study abroad, and to provide a basic outline of the study abroad process and a forum about study abroad. If at any point you have questions about study abroad, the Middle East, or any of the topics that I discuss in these videos, feel free to post a comment or send me a private message on YouTube, and I'll try my best to get back to you. So yeah, that's just kind of, hopefully I'm going to try to make these videos short and kind of to the point, and basically, provide a kind of utilitarian guide for those of you interested in study abroad. So that's that. Before we get started, this is a picture of the Dome of the Rock. For those of you who don't know, it's the third holiest site in Islam, and it's not actually in Jordan. It used to be in Jordan when Jordan occupied the West Bank from 1948 to 1967. But it's actually currently in Jerusalem, Israel, Palestine. And it's one of the many cool places I was able to go whilst studying abroad in Jordan. So, and as I mentioned earlier, this series is sponsored in part by the Benjamin A. Gilman International Scholarship, which is administered by the Institute of International Education. The Benjamin A. Gilman International Scholarship is a federal, need-based scholarship for those of limited financial means to pursue academic studies or credit-bearing, career-oriented internships abroad. It's intended to better prepare U.S. students to assume significant roles in an increasingly global economy and interdependent world. So if you are eligible for this if you receive a Pell Grant as part of your financial aid package for college. You can be awarded up to $8,000 from this scholarship. $5,000 is need-based, up to $5,000 for the Benjamin A. Gilman International Scholarship itself, and then an additional $3,000 is available for those interested in studying critical languages, such as Arabic or Chinese, or other languages deemed by the United States government as relevant in international economy and politics that are understudied in the United States. So I would, apart from my love of the Middle East and the Arab world, I would totally recommend you to study Arabic as a means of getting additional funding for your study abroad experience. And I would also like to give a shout out to Ohio University, where I am currently pursuing a global studies political science double major with the certificate in Islamic studies. Ohio University is, in my opinion, a great example of what a public university needs to be. It's relatively affordable. It has a great academic reputation and a lot of cool extracurricular activities. It has a thriving international community for those of you interested in an international community and looking for a college, and a strong study abroad support infrastructure. I am entirely confident that I would have been unable to pursue my study abroad experience without the help afforded me by the Office of Education Abroad at Ohio University. It also has a lot of, for those of you more particularly interested in the Middle East, has a lot of cool extracurricular activities focused on the Middle East. I'm currently involved with the Arabic Language Student Association, the Students for Justice in Palestine and Israel, and Project Noor, a interfaith dialogue organization between Muslims and non-Muslims. So it's a great place, and if you're currently in high school or looking for a university otherwise, I would completely recommend Ohio University. So a little bit more on my background. This past spring 2013, from January to May, I lived in Amman, Jordan, which is demarcated on the map here. As you can see, Jordan's kind of in the center of the Middle East, and as both a political science major interested in the kind of geopolitics in the region, and the son of a very worried mother who cried actually when I told her I wanted to study abroad in the Middle East out of fear for my life, I guess. Jordan and Amman were an excellent decision for me. Jordan is a relatively stable country. It hasn't really, there have been terrorist attacks in the past, but in the last decade or so there have been none. It has a very strong security force, and it's very safe by comparisons to most other Middle Eastern countries. I actually felt more safe in Amman than I do at my home university. It's positioned in the middle of the Middle East, and due to its stable nature and position, it's the recipient of a lot of refugees from all over the Middle East. If you've been following the Syrian crisis, you know that North Jordan is has one of the largest concentration of Syrian refugees in the world. Similarly, Iraq, during the 2003 U.S. invasion, a lot of Iraqis fled to Jordan. A large percentage of the country's population, it's controversial which percentage is actually comprised of Palestinian refugees from the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. And it has the country has very strong historical and cultural ties with the Palestinians. So, and then of course you have Saudi Arabia. A lot of Saudi Arabians go to Jordan, use Jordan as a kind of vacation spot, and Egypt. A lot of Egyptians also work in the country. So you kind of have a nice mix of people from all over the region in a safe and kind of relatively stable place. So if you're looking if you're looking to maximize your bite, per se, of the Middle East, it's a really cool country to go to for that reason. Also, if you're interested in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, due to the country's large Palestinian population and unique ties with Israel-Palestine, it's actually one of the few Arab countries with a peace treaty with Israel, and relatively stable and friendly relations with the country. It's a great country to go to if you're interested in studying that conflict and getting a more Arab perspective than studying abroad in, say, Israel. So definitely something to look into. So just a little bit more background on Jordan. It is a predominantly Arab country. This is a picture with Arabic on the side, Kulna al-Ardun, which means in English, we are all Jordan. Roughly 92 to 93% of the country is Arab, but that is, of course, divided into the various different Arab ethnic groups like the Syrians, the Palestinians, the Iraqis, and of course the native Transjordanians who lived in the country before its founding in the early 1920s. And there are Bedouins, there are city dwellers, there are farmers. So it's a very diverse country demographically. It has also strong Circassian and Assyrian roots. The capital city, Amman, was actually founded by Circassians in the late 19th century. It's also a predominantly Muslim country. Roughly 92 to 93% also of the population is Muslim, most of them being Sunni. This is a picture of the King Abdullah I Mosque in Amman, Jordan. But what a lot of people don't recognize is that there's also a notable, significant native Christian population. Roughly 6 to 8% of the population is native Christian. These are sects like Greek Orthodox, Greek Catholic, Syriac, that have been in the region for centuries, if not millennia. They're not the kind of traditional evangelical Christians that we are more familiar with in the United States. So again, not by no means is it a homogeneous kind of picture that we see on television. It's a monarchy. This is a picture of King Abdullah II, who has ruled the country since 1999. It's generally seen as a pro-Western, relatively stable country with extremely good ties to the United States and Great Britain. I believe it's the second, third, or fourth largest recipient of U.S. foreign aid. So it's interestingly enough, actually, while I was in Jordan, President Obama made his first trip to the Middle East, and he actually came to Amman and toured the country. Unfortunately, I was unable to see him. I don't believe he made a public appearance in Amman. He actually made one in Petra, where he talked with King Abdullah. But it's a very friendly and stable country for those of you whose parents, like mine, were a little skeptical of me studying abroad in the Middle East. So something to keep in mind. And it's also got a very rich cultural and historical heritage, probably best exemplified by Petra, which most people in the United States know from its appearance in the 1982 film, 1989, film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, pictured here. Petra is actually this gigantic city. This picture is actually a very small part of it, so it's got a very cool history dating back millennia, back to the Nabateans. It has several Roman cities, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But it's a very cool place to go, particularly if you're interested in ancient Near Eastern history or the like. During my time in Jordan, I studied with the Council on International Educational Exchange Program, or CIEE for short, which is located in Amman, Jordan. I mainly studied at the University of Jordan, which is across the street from the CIEE Center. I primarily studied intensive Arabic for roughly 9 credit hours a week, both modern standard Arabic and Jordanian colloquial, but I also took several classes, most notably being the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the modern history of the Middle East, both with professors who are experts in their field. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the Reasons to Study Abroad video. Whilst living in Jordan, I stayed with a Palestinian host family. This is a picture of my Ummi, or my mother, and me right before I left for the United States. It was a great experience, and I would recommend a homestay to anybody regardless of where they're staying. It's a great opportunity to kind of immerse yourself in the language and the culture in a way you don't necessarily get when you're living with other American students in an apartment. I learned a lot more about Arabic, cultural norms, and got to meet a lot of interesting people I would not have met otherwise. So I would totally recommend it. This here on the bottom right-hand corner is actually a picture of my quote-unquote brother. He stayed with me during my at my homestay. His name's DJ, and I studied at the CIEE Center with approximately 60 to 80 other American students from all across the country, which was I feel like one of the coolest parts of the experience was coming to this faraway place and meeting people I would never have met otherwise, and it was a great networking and just kind of personal growth opportunity, meeting people from all sorts of different backgrounds in this kind of foreign environment where we could all kind of become really good friends. So I immensely enjoyed that. When I wasn't buried under the mounds of homework I was doing, I generally traveled either independently or with the CIEE program. Let me see here. As demonstrated here, I was able to go to Cairo, Egypt. The top left-hand corner is obviously the pyramids and the Sphinx, and the bottom right-hand corner is is a picture of the Nile River with the Burj al-Qahira in the background, or the Cairo Tower. It's the tallest building in Egypt and the North Africa region. I was also able to go to Petra, which was Indiana Jones picture in a previous slide, and Wadi Rum, which is relatively close. If you've ever seen the movie Lawrence of Arabia, where he's gathering all the Arab tribes together and marching off to war, Wadi Rum, I believe, was filmed there. It's a very popular setting to film on location. Let's see here. I was also able to, as demonstrated here, go to Jerusalem and pray at the Western Wall, and I was also able to go to the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It was a very cool experience. And yeah, I was able to go to several other places, most notably Jerash, which is an entire Roman city kind of preserved. A lot of people don't know about that. It's this giant ruined city, but it's pretty cool. Qais, which is another Roman city, also known as Gadara, for those of you interested in biblical studies. It's the place where Jesus is said to have cast the demons into the pigs, who then went into the water. It's also very near the Golan Heights, which was a region occupied by Israel and disputed by Syria, and it's kind of very important geopolitically, which was very interesting for me. I was able to go to Aqaba, which is also plays a very prominent role in the movie Lawrence of Arabia. It's the Jordan's only port city on the Red Sea. I was able to go to the Dead Sea and float in the sea without having to swim, which is a very kind of eerie experience. I was also able to go to the baptism site where Jesus is said to have been baptized. A lot of people don't realize that that's actually in Jordan rather than Israel, along with the place where John the Baptist is said to have been executed in Mount Nebo, where Moses is said to have died. So if you're interested in ancient Near Eastern history, biblical history, even modern geopolitical history, there's a lot of cool places to visit in Jordan, and of course in the Middle East in general. So it's definitely a cool region to check out. And that concludes our the first video in the Nick and Jordan series. Thank you all for listening. I will post any relevant information in the descriptions. If you have any questions, please leave a comment or send me a private message. And hopefully the next videos will be less me talking about myself and more instructional. But thank you all for listening.